babysit you, you will not summit. I would get frostbite. And nothing prepared me for the experience at Shiptons. So this is the second part of my journey of climbing Mount Kenya. In the previous episode, I explained how we moved from Ceremon Gate to Old Moses and arrived at Shipton. Shipton's camp is the base camp for Mount Kenya. It stands at about 4,200 meters or 13,800 feet. In total, that night, we were about 200 to 300 people in the camp. And Shipton's camp is the base camp for various mountain peaks on Mount Kenya. Mount Kenya has 22 peaks, but the most climbed are 3. That is Point Lenana, Nelion, and Batian. So anybody endeavoring to reach these points or these peaks will sleep over at Shipton. Shiptons is a camp where you can sleep in tents or bandas, and bandas, as I explained, are actually dormitories. And for the very first time, I experienced what I had not expected, and nothing prepared me for the experience at Shiptons. Maybe I was naive, but the first experience that shocked me was that there was no grass in Shiptons. So we had to lay our yoga mats on pebbles and stones. And I can tell you for sure, my yoga mat was no match for the pebbles, stones, and sand at Shipton. And it was a really long night. Secondly, the second thing that shocked me about Shipton was how cold it was. The night at Old Moses had been cold, but was comfortable. I felt so cold at Shipton. At one time, I thought I would get frostbite. For that reason, I actually now took my feet that were already in 2 pairs of socks and put on a pair of sports shoes, entered the sleeping bag with the sports shoes, and slept. Luckily, I was able to get some sleep. The third thing that shocked me about Shiptons is the toilet situation. Can you imagine, for the entire camp at that time, there were only 2 toilets for the hikers and 1 pit latrine or outhouse for the porters and guides. And this is for a population that could have been up to 300 people that night. I really want to appeal to Kenya Wildlife Services to build toilets at Shiptons. Or if they've already been built, somebody please leave a comment down below. If you know anybody in Kenya Wildlife Service, please tell them to please build toilets at Shipton's camp. This is inhuman. The fifth thing that shocked me about Shiptons, this is the place where I saw a sudden change in our guides. The guides we'd come with, not just for my group, even the other groups who we were with, were meek, humble, quiet, and polite. I saw them at Shiptons turn into no-nonsense drill sergeants. If you've ever gone through the military or the paramilitary, I'm sure you understand what we mean by a drill sergeant. This is the person who has no mercy and will push you to your limit. And Shiptons really made me see that part of our guides. Of course, I later understood that if they babysit you, you will not summit. But at that point, you have no choice but to obey the command. It's too late to go back. And you really came to climb Mount Kenya and you want to summit. Many times I've told myself that Shiptons is a point of no return. Once you're there, you must move forward. There are also other interesting happenings at Shiptons. And the sixth thing that shocked me there is the amount of theft among hikers, porters, maybe guides, I don't know. My group suffered in that the beef that we had carried to cook for that night was stolen from the common kitchen. When our chef came to inform us, of course, our faces were sullen. And now we had to make do with pulses, that is vegetarian food. And when the vegetarian food ran out, we now had to survive on starch alone for the remaining part of the journey. I don't know if have you ever experienced this theft? If you have, please let us know by sharing in the comment section below. Another incident was where our table serviettes were stolen by the members of the next table, and we suspect this table that had about 6 or more gentlemen and 1 lady, we suspect it is the lady who did the stealing. And we really wondered, gosh, does Shipton turn these elegant hikers into petty thieves, or was it a one-off incident? If you're liking this video, please like it, give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe to my channel. The 8th thing about Shiptons is that it makes all hikers equal. There are different ways you can go to Mount Kenya. You can go backpacking, or you can go glamping, or what is really would be executive camping, where you even have your own private toilet and a bed to sleep on. However, Shiptons makes all hikers equal. It doesn't matter how you came. Once you get to Shipton, there are 2 things that determine whether you will summit or not. It is your feet and the strength of your lungs. If your feet cannot move, that is the end of the journey. If you get altitude sickness and you cannot breathe, you'll be returned to lower altitude. Therefore, it is make it or break it. On the night that we arrived there, we slept pretty early at about 9 p.m. and we were woken up at 2 a.m. to prepare for the night march to summit. I've done a different video on the experience of the summit march. Please go to my playlist and watch that video. The 10th thing about Shiptons is the mood of the hikers. Whereas the guides become drill sergeants, the hikers' mood changes. The once joyful hikers become quiet, their mood becomes solemn. You can see uncertainty, fear, and anxiety on their faces. The fear of the unknown is real. However, not all is gloom at Shipton. It's at Shiptons that I met one of the hiking legends in Kenya, who's even been to the Everest base camp. Maybe one day I will bring him here on this YouTube channel to share his experience. Let me know what you think about my experiences, and it would also be nice for us to know of your experiences at Shipton's camp. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.